hear a lot of talk, chatter, conversation, in fact, anxiety and even panic around conversational topics such as the kind of chaos and sudden change and everything that's going on in the world. Sometimes in these discussions, I feel like we stop ourselves at a very surface level and don't contemplate the much deeper or higher or expansive ideas that are embedded in this experience. And I'd like to gloss over this extemporaneously this morning. A couple main categories that I'm talking about. The first is the conversation around AI and so many people focusing on the short-term material implications. For example, the loss of jobs, certain professions being hit harder than others, and that within just a few years, these professions might go away. In the same way that the Pony Express died the week that the Transcontinental Railroad started running, right? Pony Express was done. Farriers and horse people started going out of work, right? Like things have changed before and it's always caused disruption and it's happening again. So we're looking at that. But actually, I would like to propose that that is much too superficial a position from which to have that conversation. Because what is really going on with AI, maybe, is that we are learning that we know nothing about consciousness, that the very way that neurons learn might be an emergent property, potentially from the upwelling consciousness of the quantum sea foam itself, and that everything we think about religion, identity, intelligence might have to change. Because that's really where we're at. It's not about the jobs that may be lost. It's that we might be encountering the alien in ourselves and realize that consciousness doesn't need biology. It just needs a functional substrate. And that can be tech or neurons. Wow. That is so much more mind-blowing, so much more explosive, because it blows up religion, it blows up philosophy, it blows up identity, it may even blow up free will to some extent, right? It's a way bigger way of thinking. And here we are worried about illustrators' jobs, which is important because they're human beings and they have to live, but wow. Something much, much bigger than that. So too, this question of chaos, there's so many people saying, yeah, it's so chaotic, there's so much change, there's so much uncertainty, right? That's why the economy goes wild, it's uncertainty. But again, I'd like to flip that idea on its head. Those of you who follow predictive systems, pattern languages, and I'm gonna pick the big one that's been very popular recently, astrology. A lot of people are looking at astrology the wrong way. Either they disbelieve it completely, oh, it can't be scientifically true, or they live their lives by this predictive art without asking the bigger question. Here's the thing. For those of you who don't know, astrology brings its receipts. It has over 2,000 years of recorded history, and we can check on its accuracy. You don't have to make it up. You can look at the receipts. There is an unmistakable pattern of recurrence that somehow seems to correlate events on Earth and the patterns that planets and stars make in the heavens. Wow, mind-blowing. But is it mind-blowing? Look at the physical world. We have come to realize that certain shapes keep repeating. The Fibonacci sequence, the river deltas of the Nile and the capillaries in the eye, the neurons in the brain and the galaxies in space. We see the same pattern over and over, and we say, well, this is because physics is founded on very simple fundamental laws, and everything material is built up on that, so the same patterns recur. But then we can't make the leap between material, physical, and ideas, society, movements, patterns. But what's the difference? That's an artificial divide. We've just decided that that's different. everything in reality upwells from the same basic quantum physical reality of our world. Everything, ideas included. So why shouldn't historical events, certain themes and subjects, various behaviors and moods also follow patterns in the same way that river deltas and branches on trees follow patterns? Why shouldn't they? It actually makes sense. It makes more sense. And yes, they do. Astrology has its receipts. It can show you every time Uranus has been in Gemini, for example, the last 3 times over the last 250 years, there has been war that the United States has been involved in. Every time, like 3 for 3. So this next time in 2026, we might say the possibility is war might be coming. And we might be right. 2020s, this whole decade, has been predicted as being one of intense change. Why? Because the symbols of the planets are changing in ways that they rarely do, so we can just anticipate society will as well. And it is. COVID was predicted by the cluster of all those planets in Capricorn. And now in the next couple years, many other massive social changes are predicted and are in fact happening. This weekend was a partial solar eclipse, and exactly on cue, a massive earthquake hit the world. Massive changes in politics, sudden revelations about blackmail and manipulation and control at the highest levels of American government, right? How could it be a coincidence that these massive things came out on the weekend of the eclipse, precisely in accordance with the symbolic association of eclipses that they've always had for thousands of years? Oh no, it's just coincidence. No, my friends, it's a much bigger and much staggering realization. There is a pattern. Consciousness is not what we think it is. Physical reality is not what we think it is. Listen, we may not know what it is, but we have enough evidence now to absolutely guarantee that our current vision of reality is wrong. At the very least, incomplete. There's more going on. We know this. So let's, if possible, dig into some of these bigger ideas and begin drawing down some of the bigger conclusions. Because the people that are currently running the world, and listen, it's just people, right? It might be aliens, it might be reptilians, it might be anything, but let's just deal with the people, right? There are people running this world, human beings who've taken all the power to themselves, and they're just people. We need to deal with those people. They are trying to divide and conquer and keep us rattled and so on edge about our day-to-day survival that we ignore these bigger questions. I simply propose there might be much, much more going on than tariff wars, right? Those are not unimportant subjects, but they are not the important subjects. We keep getting distracted by the circus instead of pulling the curtain and looking at the levers that the Wizard of Oz is pulling on, going, wait, what's this? What's this machine that runs the universe, right? And the human beings pulling the levers. Anyway, just some random thoughts on the weekend of the eclipse. Ciao, my friends.